Welcome to a place where being fine is being you. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to We Are All Fine, a podcast where we explore the messy, meaningful, very human parts of emotional well-being. I'm your host. I'm Heidi Lester. I'm a counsellor and psychotherapist, and I'm so glad you've joined me today. Last week, we talked about emotional self-awareness, how to really tune in and hear yourself, understand what you feel, and reconnect with your inner voice. Today, we're going to go a layer deeper. We're talking about attachment, the patterns that we develop early in life that shape how we bond, connect, and ultimately feel safe with others. So if you've ever wondered, why do I pull away when people get close? Or why do I panic when someone takes too long to reply? Or why do I feel safer alone and also lonely? This episode is for you. And here's the most important thing you need to know. Your attachment style is not who you are, it's just what you've learned. And anything learned can be relearned. Make yourselves comfortable. As a psychotherapist and counsellor, I'm always working with attachment. So let me tell you what it is. It's simply the way we learn to feel safe in connection. It's shaped by early childhood experiences, but it continues to evolve and develop throughout our lives. What it isn't, it is not a personality label, it is not a life sentence, and it's not a fixed category that defines you forever. It's a pattern, it's a survival strategy, and it's a window into how you see closeness and safety. And attachment styles develop because your younger self tried to answer one essential question: can I rely on others? And depending on the answer, your nervous system has learned to adapt. There are 4 common attachment styles I'll bring to the podcast today. Number 1, anxious attachment. You may fear being abandoned. You may overthink small signs of distance or somebody detaching from you, not because you're needy, but because closeness never felt consistent. The second one we'll bring is avoidant attachment. You'll stay independent, self-contained, or distant, not because you don't care, but because vulnerability once left you feeling very, very unsafe. The third one, disorganised attachment. This is when you're going to want closeness, but fear it all at the same time. Not because you're chaotic, but because your early environment was unpredictable or overwhelming. I absolutely sit in this attachment style. And the fourth one is secure attachment, where you'll be comfortable with closeness and independence. And this really can be learnt at any age, depending on who came in your life and who you formed attachments with. Let me talk about how attachment styles are going to make your life feel harder than it needs to be. These attachment styles we've just talked about don't just show up in romantic relationships. They shape how safe you feel in the world. They're going to influence how you interpret silence, how you respond to conflict, how you ask for help, how close you let people get to you, and how you can talk to yourself when something goes wrong. And often they make life feel heavier than they need to be. And it's not because something's wrong with you, but it's because your nervous system is still operating from those old rules. If you have an anxious attachment, everyday moments are going to feel loaded. A delayed reply can spiral into fear. You might work hard to keep others close, checking, reassuring, overgiving, while quietly starting to feel exhausted and resentful and unsure if you're ever truly wanted. Really tricky place to be if you have an anxious attachment. But if you've got an avoidant attachment, life can look calm on the outside, but you're going to feel lonely underneath that. You'll pride yourself on your independence, yet you will struggle to let anyone really see the authentic you. You might pull away when things get emotionally close, not because you don't care, but because closeness might have once meant pressure, criticism, or loss of control. And if you've an disorganised attachment, relationships can feel especially confusing. You'll want the connection, you'll want that really deeply, but when it appears, your body will react from a place of fear and anxiety. And you'll swing between reaching out and shutting down, longing and mistrust, and closeness and self-protection. It can feel like you're fighting yourself. And if you lean into the secure attachment, old attachment wounds can still surface under stress, grief, or some form of trigger, a major life event, for example. And the hardest part is this: most people don't realize their reactions are rooted in attachment. I hear this all the time with clients. They come in telling me they're too much, they're too distant, they're bad at relationships, or they're emotionally broken or wounded. Now, all of those things, that is their truth, that is their reality. But I tell my clients that these patterns were learned in environments where they made total sense. They were intelligent adaptations to the situation, just ones that may no longer serve you, which brings us to therapy. Now, healing attachment is not about fixing yourself. It's not about becoming somebody else. It's about experiencing a new kind of relationship, one that is safe, consistent, and emotionally attuned and balanced. So your nervous system then can learn to react from a different place. Thinking about going into therapy for support with your attachment styles is going to help you, not because we're going to give you advice. That isn't what it's about. It's through experience. So let me tell you how that therapeutic experience can help you. The therapist is going to become a very steady, predictable presence. Not perfect, not always comfortable, but consistent. Week after week, that therapist will show up, listen, remember, and respond with care and compassion. And over time, your nervous system will begin to register something new. That connection doesn't disappear when I'm honest, and closeness, it doesn't have to be earned. And someone can stay and be with me even when things feel messy. That learning is so paramount. It does happen slowly and subtly. I do see it, but that's the point. You'll explore old patterns without judgment. Now, in therapy, your reactions aren't labelled as flaws. We are not judging you. They're treated as information. So instead of something like, why am I like this? It'll become, what happened that made this response necessary? Your therapist will help you flip it back and work out the triggers. And you will begin to see that your anxiety, your shutdown, or your push-pull behaviour once did actually serve you. It did protect you. And when the shame softens, change becomes possible. You will practice vulnerability at a pace your nervous system can handle. And therapy won't demand instant openness. It just will respect your defences. You get to choose how much to share, when to pause and when to pull back. And you will learn that you can do all of that without losing that trusting therapeutic alliance. This will build trust not just in others, but in yourself, which is really important. And you'll experience repair, not perfection. This part is powerful. Misunderstandings can happen in therapy, and moments of distance may appear and ruptures may slowly come around, but then they repair. It's a conversation, we ask for clarification, and we can reconnect again. Your system will learn something life-changing. That conflict doesn't mean abandonment, that you can survive the discomfort, and relationships, they can bend without breaking. And finally, you will slowly internalize a securer way of relating. And over time, your counselor's calm, attuned presence becomes something you will carry inside of you. You'll develop that steadier inner voice. We've talked about this before. Those clearer boundaries, a greater tolerance for closeness, and much more trust in your needs and feelings. And that is how attachment heals from the inside out, because attachment styles are not fixed traits, they are learned patterns of behaviour, and new relationships create new templates. Therapy is one of the safest places to build those templates. And if you are thinking of seeking out a therapist after our conversation today, I'd recommend you can look on Counselling Directory. On their website, their profiles have got qualified and experienced therapists, or you can look on the BACP website for therapists near you. Let me share some small steps before we end that you can take away with this week. Some gentle ways to start shifting towards a more secure attachment. First thing, name your pattern without shaming yourself. The awareness at this stage is powerful. Secondly, practice asking for one small need. Start with something quite small. You might want some clarity, some reassurance, a moment to think. Ask yourself, what do I need right now? Next thing, number 3, notice your triggers. I always say this, with curiosity, never judgment. What is my nervous system trying to protect me from? Be curious, explore it, sit with it. The fourth step, slow your responses. Always buy yourself a pause, because we know in the pause, the good things happen. Pause before reacting. Give your emotions those few seconds to breathe before you react. And lastly, let safe people in a little at a time. Secure attachment, it takes time to build, so be patient, but just let those people in one at a time. That was episode 41. I thank you so much for being here with me today. Attachment patterns can feel very deeply rooted, but they're never permanent. Every time you show up, reflect, or choose a new response, even a small one, you're reshaping the way you connect with yourself and others. If this episode resonated with you, please feel free to follow the show, rate it, or share it with someone who might need a reminder that they're not defined by the past. And as always, I'd love to hear your thoughts or questions on today's show, or anything you'd like us to discuss going on. You can email me anytime at HeidiWeAreAllFine@gmail.com, or come and look for me on social media. I will reply to every single email. Next week, we're moving into something that so many people struggle with at this time of year. And I'm going to start talking to you about how you can look after your mental health at Christmas. Now, we often hear that Christmas is meant to be joyful, cozy, full of connection, but for some people, many people, it really isn't like that. For many, it's one of the most emotionally challengingly charging times of the year. Because the festive season brings joy and expectations, it can also bring a pressure to be okay, even when you may not be. Your anxiety doesn't know it's Christmas and will not give you the day off. You can have old family dynamics resurfacing. That's definitely happening with me and my family. Grief that gets louder in those quieter moments. Financial strain is always an issue. Loneliness, even if you're surrounded by lots of people. You're going to be overstimulated, exhausted, and there's expectations everywhere. And memories, they come back and they might hurt, or traditions that may no longer serve you. And all of that can take a toll on your mental health. So please join me for episode 42. We're going to be talking gently and honestly about why Christmas can feel so heavy, and how you can find that support yourself through compassion, boundaries, and setting some realistic expectations. You're not alone in finding this season difficult, and you do deserve to move through it in a way that protects your well-being. I will see you next week. And until then, remember, we are all flawed, insecure, nervous, and emotional, and we're all absolutely worthy of connection. Be yourself. Always remember that, because you're no one else. Until next time, have a brilliant week. Finally, some important takeaways. The podcast is for informational use only and should not be used as a substitution for professional advice or any personal diagnosis. These opinions are personal, and I do not guarantee the accuracy of such opinions or information. I'm not intending to create a counselling relationship with you, and you should always consult a qualified mental health professional with any concerns.